Recently bought an Elgato teleprompter, and I want to talk about why and what I think about it so far. Now, the why is pretty simple. I want to improve the quality of my videos. Now, over the last year or so, I've made a couple steps in that direction. I bought a better camera for recording videos, I bought a better microphone, and I even bought a key light. And as I've started to use all this gear, I haven't quite figured out a good workflow for making videos, but I have noticed that I've settled into a bit of a pattern. So typically, the first thing I do is I record myself ramble for a bit. Now, if I'm at my desk, like I am now, I'm usually recording anyways. So if something comes to mind, it's like a one button press for me to start brainstorming on a topic. And the idea is to make it as frictionless as possible to just get started. But more often, when I go for a walk at night, I'll use the audio recorder app on my phone and just talk to myself out loud while I walk. But either way, the idea is basically to create a brain dump of what I want to talk about in my video. So next, I'll take that recording and transcribe it. And usually I'll ask ChatGPT to summarize it into an outline, and then I'll listen to the recording and refine the outline and add any additional notes if I thought of anything. But at this point, it's mostly just bullet points, and sometimes I'll even ask ChatGPT for feedback on the outline as a whole as well. But at this point, I have a pretty good outline of the topic, so I record a first draft video, and while I'm recording, I can refer to the outline as I go. Usually during this process, I get a better idea of exactly what I want to say, how I want to say it, and I'll make more notes in the outline, and the outline kind of transforms into more of a script. Now, I try not to write down literally every word, but it just depends. Once I'm happy with the script, I start to record the actual video that I intend to publish, and this is where I've been getting stuck lately. I've only done a couple of these videos so far, but the idea is to do a lot more, so I'm trying to get better at churning out these kind of videos with a production quality that I'm at least not too ashamed of. And for example, with my How Was Your 2024 video, making the video felt too awkward. I'd have to look at the outline on my monitor to see what was next, and then I'd record a line or two while looking at the camera, and then I'd forget what was the next line. I usually knew roughly what was next, but I had already decided when I was drafting the script in the first place how I wanted to say it. I just couldn't remember an entire script from beginning to end. So I'd have to look at the outline again, and then record more lines and repeat until I got all the way through the video. And it's a lot of back and forth, reminding myself what was next and doing a lot of takes. And as a result, I felt the video overall was awkward. And ideally, I just wanted it to flow as if we're just having a conversation and not me reading off a script or an outline. So one approach that some people take is just screw the eye contact with the camera and just read off, your outline on the other monitor. It's not that big a deal, and I don't have a problem with it, but I figured I'd at least try to improve my ability to make eye contact throughout the video, or at least most of it. So that brings me to another issue that I've noticed. If you're eye contacting literally every second of the video, it comes off a little weird too. So the solution, a while back, when I was watching YouTube videos about content creator gear, I remembered learning about the Elgato teleprompter. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, that's actually a thing. But I had other priorities at the time. I didn't really see myself using a teleprompter, so I just moved on. But since then, I have been able to notice when I watch certain YouTubers that they are clearly reading off their notes. In particular, there's a YouTuber I watch who primarily does talking head videos, and he had a decently sized channel, and it was clear he had invested himself in making videos with higher quality production values. And I could tell like he was doing this off-screen reading thing, and I left a comment and I said, hey, I know that this teleprompter thing exists, maybe you should look at it. A while back, I had also looked into using an eye contact filter that you can do with the NVIDIA Broadcast app, but I didn't really like how that worked either. And then when I was working on my end of 2024 video, I was actively frustrated with the process while I was doing it, for the reasons I mentioned earlier, having to go back and forth between my script and trying to speak to the camera. And I thought, you know what? Maybe a teleprompter would help me out too. So I said, let's try it, see if it helps. And, not gonna lie, definitely felt a little silly considering the prospect of using a freaking teleprompter. But one of my guiding principles is embracing getting out of your comfort zone. So why not at least try it? And if it sucks, I'll just return it. So I ordered one, and it took, like a week or two to come in. Um, and I wasn't really sure how I was going to integrate a teleprompter into my existing setup. I have two 43-inch monitors on my desk, and I've been using a tripod in between the monitors to mount my webcam. And initially, I thought I'd try to put the prompter above the monitors, either in the center or off to one side. But I had a feeling that the camera angle wouldn't be ideal. It would look like the camera was like looking down on me. And I'd been used to having the camera at eye level, and I liked how that was working. So I started thinking maybe I can mount the prompter to some sort of retractable setup. And that way, when I want to use the prompter, I can just pull it down at eye level, do my thing, and then push it back up out of the way when I'm done. So I tried both of those approaches and didn't really like it. So what I've settled on for now is I've mounted the prompter on the same tripod I was using for just my webcam. Now it's a little top heavy and wobbly if I bump into it, but it's pretty out of the way, and I don't think it's going to be a problem, except for possibly my cat who likes to jump on my desk and crawl behind the monitors. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I think for the most part it'll be okay. And this way the camera is at eye level like I had it before. And I did have to move my monitors apart a little bit to make room for the prompter in the middle. So now there's like a 9-inch gap between my monitors. And I'd been used to being able to look from one monitor to the other with no gap in between. And I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of having a 9-inch gap in between my monitors just to make room for this teleprompter, but it's not the end of the world, and I've adjusted to it pretty quickly, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. One of the additional benefits is that the prompter acts as an additional monitor, and I just keep my Google Meet window open there all day, and sometimes my daily notes or my to-do list. One benefit of moving the monitors apart is I can also now put my tablet or my laptop in that space and have an additional monitor. And a final benefit is even if you're not trying to make talking head videos, but you do video conferencing at work, for example, if you've decided to get yourself a good webcam, a good microphone, or decent lighting to improve the professionalism of your video calls, you might want to consider getting a prompter too. If you've ever noticed during video calls that most of the time you're looking at the video conferencing software on your monitor and not looking at the camera, a teleprompter can help with that too. It'll help you make better eye contact, which will lead to more engaging conversation on your calls. So I've only had the teleprompter for a few days now, but I did use it to make this video, and I think it helped a lot. I got through this video a lot quicker than I have my previous videos, and I'm sure I'll fiddle with my setup over the weeks and months ahead. But for now, I think it was a good purchase, and hopefully there will be more and better videos to come from my channel as a result. So thank you for listening. Let me know what you think. Do you use a teleprompter, or have you thought about using one? If you have, please share any tips or advice on how to make the best use of it. And if you haven't, but have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll try to help out. Take care.